Today's conversation is one I know that I so desperately needed 3 months ago, and now we get to bring that to all of you today. Hey, it's Denise, and you're listening to the Working Moms Redefined podcast. And today we are joined by Dr. John Kim. He is a board certified physician that specializes in integrative and functional medicine. And what does that even mean to all of you? Well, finding the root cause, maybe of some of the issues that you're having, rather than masking or trying to fix the outcomes. It's hormonal health. And hormones are such a topic that so many of us, one, don't know about, two, want to know about, and three, might not know where to go and what to believe. We brought the expert to you. Dr. Kim is here to really explain clearly what might be going on. The conversation is going to be guided towards really answering some of the questions that all of you had to better be able to optimize our health and the way in which we show up. Dr. Kim, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, Denise, I'm so happy to join you. As you know, that I served that area for about 2 years, and I lived in Quincy in one.
Hormonal health for women is something that I think a lot of us are really talking about mainly and wanting to do something that's maybe not so traditional in the sense of medicine. And for me personally, that journey began back in November, and I was referred to Dr. Kim by a good friend of mine. And it has been such a fun journey thus far to learn about my body and to have somebody to bounce questions off of. You have been instrumental in that, Dr. Kim. And before we get into more questions, what is it that you hope people will walk away with after our conversation today?
Oh, it's just one thing, that we're not machines. We're not machines. Yeah, I think that in our culture, we have this idea that we're like robots, we're machines, and in that paradigm, it is frightening what's coming. The AI invasion of the AI, invasion of the robots. And if we focus on that, I think that they're right. I mean, we're done for. But if we focus on the fact that we're people and focus on people, then actually more things open up, because there's so much that AI cannot do. Like AI cannot do like what we're doing. AI cannot build relationship. AI cannot build trust. So I think that it's going to be more exciting that in the future that we human beings can be more human beings, because all of us will have like help. Like, for example, I don't think too many women now look at the washing machine dryer and say, "Oh my God, that's a threat," or automatic vacuum machine and say, "Oh my God, it's taking my work." So I think it will be somewhat like that. And then if you focus on being human being and try to work with AI, you'll do great. Otherwise, I think it'll be challenging. And what I'm saying is that all of us, most of us, including me, I think we just have a linear view. We just think that our body is a machine, hormone systems are a mechanistic approach, but really it isn't.
Where do we start, Dr. Kim? I think so many high capacity women wonder if one, what am I feeling? Is it burnout? Is it exhaustion? Is there something else wrong? What would you say to these women about their bodies and where to start and what to do and what questions to ask?
And I think like you may recall I talk about SHINE, and it's an acronym for if you are not feeling optimal, you have to look at your sleep, you have to look at your hormones, which we're going to talk about today, and I is hidden infections, N is nutrition, and E is autoimmune disease, and these are all linked together. And after COVID, actually, our issues with hidden infections and autoimmune diseases have gone through the roof. So even if you're not diagnosed, chances are we're walking around with hidden infection, autoimmune disease or the process that is ongoing. And of course, hormones will get affected. It's not like hormones are in isolation to our body. It's part of our body. And I think that there's also idea that there's one thing, one supplement that can, one hack that is going to fix everything. And it just doesn't work that way.
I think that that almost makes me wonder if that's what we as a society are oversimplifying when it comes to hormones. There are so many ads that we see about, ooh, take this and this will help all of your problems, or read this and you'll now know everything. Would you agree with that, or are we oversimplifying hormones in general too?
I think that that hormones, actually biological aspect of hormone isn't that difficult. It's the clinical understanding. I'll come up with that. It is a perfect example. Thyroid. Everyone knows what thyroid is. So what's really interesting is yesterday I saw a patient who is hypothyroid, is taking medication, and is hyperthyroid. So it's pretty simple. You're going to say, oh, or whatever reason, you're hyperthyroid, I'm going to reduce the dose. And I think that's the most way. If you went to your doctor, they would stop at that. But in the Shine model, I'm asking them, how are you sleeping? I have palpitations. Oh, she's really hyperthyroid. How are your other hormone levels? Are you getting hot flashes? No, it's all good there. And then infectious disease, like, how did you do with COVID? I got it a couple of times. How are you eating? It's like the standard American diet. You know what that's called? SAD. And they're fixing it. They're fixing it. I think these things are happening, but it's gonna take time. So, and then the last is autoimmune. And she kind of cocks her head. It's like, I had Hashimoto's, but doctors tell me that everything's normal. So I think it's good. I said, no, it's opposite. Your Hashimoto's is normal because your thyroid is kind of burnt out. That's why it's normal. The antibodies are normal. So I don't know if it's automatically a good idea. But let me be crazy, doctor, and order one more thing, looking at the root cause. And this crazy idea that you can have hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism in one, which is Hashimoto's and Graves in one. I said, I've seen it a couple of times. I'm sure you don't have it. Let me check it. And guess what? She's got Hashimoto's and Graves. So, and then I talked to a doctor that works with me. He goes, I recently saw that too. And again, it's an example that things don't work in isolation. I think the COVID has changed things. And if you ask me, how many percent of us had been exposed to COVID unless you live in a bubble, I think all of us were affected. We just were affected differently. Most of us asymptomatic, some of us probably converted, and then some of them, us, we got sick and then, tragically no longer here with us. So I think that that's one example that hormones don't work in isolation.
Let's start base level. I have some questions and we'll use examples that I've been able to learn from tests with all of you. But what would you say are the biggest symptoms that you are hearing and seeing from those that you work with?
So I think fatigue is a big one, and the way that I think that we work, I always say to my patients is that yin before yang, never yang in, always yin and yang. But in our culture, I think it's almost shameful that we have to rest. It's almost shameful that we have to sleep. Like in my household, our household, sleep is so important. We prioritize that, and Saturdays and Sundays we try to actually get naps. Um, and we eat around that so that a little bit heavier lunch makes insulin go up, and then you get sleepy, and then we don't fight that. We take it as a gift. We sleep. When I was directing a program near Quincy, and we had enough team members, enough nurses, we would create shifts, and I would give someone 11 to 1 break, and it doesn't matter what they do. And a lot of them times they catch up on sleep if they have to. They do other things, and then 12 to 2, I would have another person go out, and then and that like makes it more um doable for everyone. I know that it's only 1 hour. The company wise, they may be losing 1 hour, but I think it's investing in my team so that their afternoon is easier. And believe it or not, when you get depleted that way, it's like even when you sleep, you don't get good night's sleep. So I feel like they go home and they have better sleep, and because they get better sleep, I think everything gets regulated better because sleep is the magic agent that controls the cortisol, growth hormone, insulin, thyroid hormone. So you say about it. I think that sleep has an impact melatonin, then serotonin. So more than, except for the maybe female hormones, because everything else, sleep has an influence. And I do think that um, sex hormones have a relationship because we are taught that progesterone helps you to go to bed, estrogen helps you to stay in bed. So, I mean, gross overgeneralization, but that's an example that I think that sleep is systematically attacked in our culture. You know, we sleep with our phone. And I think that one of the greatest things that I love about iPhone is do not disturb mode. So I can put that on, and then I think the alarm works, but everything else doesn't work. So then the world is going on, but it doesn't buzz me. So I think that that's what happens.
How much sleep should the average person get?
So I think it's not a number, but it's how you feel in the morning. If you feel like you get up, your brain is clear, and you're happy to get things started, I think you're getting optimal amount of sleep. One of the things that I try to do is that if I'm sleepy, I don't fight it. Like before doing this interview about noon, I felt really, really sleepy. So I just put my phone on do not disturb, and then I just closed my eyes. And then about 25 minutes, but there was an alarm on so I can relax. 25 minutes later, I got up and my brain felt enough rest. And I think that's the way that I look at it is that do you have enough energy at the end of the day? Like yesterday, I came back from work, about an hour drive. I still had energy to cook for my wife and then do the dishes and then clean up the kitchen. Because I think that a lot of things that men don't know is that women know this, that us men are 10 years behind mentally, emotionally. The second thing is that we're clueless. I mean, we don't come housebroken. We're like puppy. We're super excited, but we do not come house trained. So that once we figure things out, then we understand that we're stronger most of the times. So then use the energy to help your spouse. The things that if she looks tired, let her go rest, let her sleep, feed the animals, wash the dishes, do the laundry, fold them. So because the reason why I say it is not just like a sexist way of looking at it, it's biology. The thing is that in Chinese classical medicine, they say that the complexity of woman, if man is one, woman is 10. In mind, complexity is 100 if man is one. So women have that complex system, and who can get pregnant? Who can breastfeed, right? So who does children run to when things are right, not right? And guess what? My son is self-reliant, Air Force. Guess who he calls? He's upset, not me. So I think God's given Proverbs 31 for a reason. Didn't write about hormones, but I think he knew that women have it tough because the changes they have is bigger. I mean, it's a big change between cycling versus all of a sudden not cycling. And like in Bible, they talk about Sarah saying that, hey, like I'm postmenopausal, I can't have children. And Abraham's like, oh God, thank you for Sarah's going to get pregnant. So it's little things like that. How complex a woman's body is, and part of that is hormone. It's not just hormone, but hormone definitely play a role.
That was one thing that you and I spoke with quite a bit, Dr. Kim. I had gotten a full blood panel workup and everything was fine, looked phenomenal. But yet I didn't feel that. And that's where we have to take the initiative of ourselves to go ask questions and potentially get help. So when I got to meet you, that was where we started. And you had me do a Dutch test,
Mhm,
and then you looked at sex hormones,
mhm,
and you looked at cortisol levels and micronutrients, and not even 2 weeks later, when I was able to get back all of those results, just knowing, peace of mind that, hey,
mhm,
something is off that
mhm,
a normal blood panel would not have shown. And so for me, I was low on ferritin, on some important vitamins, and my body would not release cortisol. And it was almost as if like you telling me all of those things was like, it's okay to not be okay. And it's
Mhm.
silly to need those types of, you know what? Maybe it's not. It was hard for me to give myself permission to be okay with knowing that. And then knowing that you were going to take care of me moving forward. When you meet with individuals and you walk through those, tell us, what do those types of tests show?
So, like I said, the idea of shine means sleep, which gets influenced by hormone, which energy level is influenced by hidden infection. Because if your body is fighting hidden viruses and other parasites, and a lot of people think that they have worms, what they don't understand is that actually it's the viruses. Um, some of us are carrying still COVID virus around. Some of us, all of us probably have chickenpox virus. That's why we get shingles. And we even have a lot of Epstein-Barr viruses, and we're finding out that they are related to autoimmune conditions and whatnot. And so I think that doing the tests tell us that, like, integrative medicine major fallacy is that your history is going to tell you everything. History does say a lot, but you can't look for those things that I just talked about. Or you cannot know hidden infections. You cannot know vitamin deficiencies. And those things are all important because we are a complex, um, not mechanism, but we're complex beings, and there are multiple nodes of influence that if you can. So if you're not sleeping, everyone knows what that feels like. If your hormone is messed up, I think you feel it, especially women in perimenopause. They begin to feel like, and young mothers also, they feel that their patience is slipping away from them. But the feeling of like rage building in the head. So controlling that is that's cortisol trying to run out of control, and just holding on to that. Well, that's extra energy you have to spend to make sure that that's not an issue. And then on top of that, imagine you are having issues with your sex hormones, and all of a sudden, things will change. Like one woman came to me, said, "My doctor's giving me all hormones, but even I'm not a doctor, but I can tell it's low." And then she's trying to talk to me, said, "It's age appropriate for you." And then I said, "How does that make you feel?" Like, my skin is turning into a like old hag, and she won't help me. So we checked again, and then it's like, "Ma'am, you have no estrogen." And I think I mean, because I know that we use estrogen cream for face, and that works like magic, but rest of your body needs it too. So, we are now, and I said, you're the boss. I'm gonna check in 2 to 3 months, but I'm gonna give you baby doses first, and then you correct yourself. And then in 2 to 3 months, if we go overboard, we'll cut down a little bit. But I just want you to feel like you're in charge again, that you are empowered to make these changes, not dependent on me. And I'm going to be permissive because you're smart. You figured out that you had estrogen depletion even without the labs.
And that is hard to give ourselves space to really sometimes even think and feel and evaluate, like, how am I feeling? I think at one point in time you asked me, you were like, well, how would you describe your health? And I had to take a beat because I'm like, I don't know the last time that somebody asked me that question, because you're either taking the kids to the doctors for ear appointments, or you're going to the chiropractor, or you're going to, all of these other things for people besides us. And then when you really sit down and evaluate how you're feeling, you get to then put words to ideas that then you can help. For me, lately, the inflammation was a topic of our discussion. And so inflammation was showing up for me when I would first wake up in the morning, and I drink plenty of water, so we knew that that wasn't an issue. The tightness in the skin, the feeling of PMS symptoms around times that were not the menstrual cycle, and other things, brain fog that we all talked about. Yes, you go back to sleep as your number one, and I am working on that. I always have areas to improve, as any of all of us do. But something along those lines was really nice for us to discuss too, was what can you do to help inflammation?
So the inflammation, I think, is that there are multiple ways of dealing with it. Supplements is one way of doing it. And those are patients that I have worked with know that fat burning state is known as ketosis, and you don't have to eat all fat to get to ketosis. There are different kind of ketosis, but not eating sugar, the way that Robert Kennedy Jr. has proposed, restricting carbs is one way to reduce anti-inflammatory diet. And one of the reasons why I grew is when things don't work, then you really grow. For example, when I got out of Dr. Weil's program, anti-inflammatory diet sounded so wonderful. I put everyone on it, and people with autoimmune disease there, I got to see it getting worse and worse and worse. So then it hit upon me that he doesn't have all the answers. And then I found a thing called low dose naltrexone, which is almost like magic for autoimmune, uh, immune inflammation, brain inflammation. And that has really changed the way I approach things. And I realized that, I'm not a functional medicine physician. I'm not integrative medicine physician. First and foremost, I'm a root cause medicine first and foremost. That means I want to dive, and I don't really care about the what integrative medicine doesn't like, which is use prescription medication, because naltrexone is, or functional medicine, LDN doesn't fit in either. But it just happens to solve my patient's problems. Because if we can catch the hypothyroidism, like Hashimoto's thyroiditis, we can reverse that. If you have a woman that with like Graves' disease, we can use that to reverse that. We don't have a lot of tools like that. We have a lot of anti-tools. It's like anti-inflammatory. Well, but the LDL doesn't do that. It just brings everything into balance. It addresses the root cause, which is the overactive microglia, which is the policeman in the brain, policeman in the immune system. And you don't want your, like, Quincy, Illinois police to be all pissed off and looking for a reason to pull people over. It's just not a good thing. And yet we walk around like that. And then we're like, oh, why is like everything so much harder? It's like, well, because the inflammation, it's just like having a peace officer who's pissed off and like had a fight with spouse, and now he sees you speeding by 5 miles an hour and he'll pull you over and say, you're speeding. So I think that's kind of an example that our body goes into overdrive. Cortisol is something like that, and I think that inflammation and hormones are really related. Inflammation and immunity really related. And inflammation and sleep is really related, because if you're inflamed, your brain is inflamed. That's histamine reaction. What do we take to go to treat histamine reaction? Benadryl. Benadryl makes us sleepy. Why? Because that feeling of overstimulation is a histamine thing. So, and that's a form of inflammation. People think inflammation means the classical idea of it's hot, it's swollen, it's painful, but that the brain overstimulation, not able to sleep, that is inflammation. That's brain inflammation. That, I think, is directly connected with what do you call the brain fog, directly long time connected with Alzheimer. So when patients come in first to me and they say, I'm tired, and I always ask them, do you have brain fog? 100%. They'll say, I have brain fog. Or they will have pain. So I tell them, if you don't take care of brain fog, I am unable to help you with the T. We have to tackle brain fog. If you have brain fog, that first. So they're very high functioning people. They are protected from this. So then that's not really an issue. Because they can't survive. They can't afford to have brain fog. So they compensate. But usually either their true protection comes from their genetics, or they're burning their vital essence even more. It's like burning candles both ends. And then it's like, I wonder why I burn out a candle very quickly.
I wonder. I mean, as if you're watching on our YouTube channel, right? Like, obviously, we're raising our hands with those types of things, because ultimately, we know a lot of this stuff is in our control. And yet, when we take into account and do what is in our control, and we still need help, that's where you come in. And I'll be honest, sometimes I need you to just lead me to water too. because I'll drink once I get there, but just help me get there. And that is something that you are so, so good at. What do women do if they are, what's their first step, right? Like we went through what they might be experiencing. We went through what you test for, how you test for it, what then might come of it. What's their first step with you then?
So I think not all, but sometimes we talk about meaning a lot. Why to suffer? Because it is really hard. It is hard to be a woman, I think. It's in some ways, when I studied with Dr. Bernie Siegel, his wife used to say, behind every successful man, there's a very tired woman. Because, and there are studies that show that too, that if you're a physician, guess how much less housework they do compared to non-physician women? 0%. They do the same amount. Or if your house, and you know this too, Denise, if you are a successful businesswoman with multiple businesses, you do same amount of housework as if you were a housemaker. If you're a neurosurgeon woman, you do same amount. If you're a pharmacist, it's the same amount. So then how are women supposed to survive? You're burning both ends, and then men are about 10 to 20 years emotionally younger than them. But body-wise, they're probably 10 to 20 years older than they are. It's really not like it's a miracle that we don't have more issues, or like divorce rate is not 100%. So I think that that's kind of one of the assessments I do. Like I had a patient come in, and the husband is just really committed to the family business, is killing him. And her comment is, are you going to go down with the ship? I mean, that's a loaded question, right? And she says, no. She says two things. Number one, I'm not getting a divorce. I'm not doing that. But I am disengaging. And that's what I tell men. It's like, just because your spouse is Proverbs 31 spouse and she looks like she's flexible, what you don't understand is beyond that flexibility is a glass. The women will be flexible to a point, and then they'll turn into glass and they shatter. And then I said, that's why if you look at the statistics, they're filing divorce is more women than men, because they're flexing, and they're shattering. So I tell men to be very. That's why I do everything I do, because I don't want my girl to say, "Honey, I shattered," and you're so fired.
Bye. But that's a hard conversation to potentially have because really, I think a lot of us would like to just take you and go say, hey, go talk to our partners, go talk to our husbands. And that's not going to happen. So, what might you say for those of us who need to have a conversation with our partner about asking for help ultimately?
I think education, and what I'll say is that you need friendship with your partner. I mean, that once again, in the time of AI, where AI is threatening every place, I don't think that I think that department is wide open for human beings. Sincerity, like friendship, trust building, and I think you know the feeling when I was asking for your help. And I just said, here's the budget. I don't want to know what you do. I just trust you. I will see you later. And that makes you feel differently, I think, than most clients you do. They're thinking about and they're small business people, so they have to be sensitive, and I am too. But we budgeted for it, so my program is I trust this program.
And vice versa. I mean,
Yeah.
trust is so, so important, and trusting that that other person has you when you have either a business conversation or a personal life conversation. And I think, Dr. Kim, it's proven to be true through our conversation today that you've got us. When we come to you with struggles, it I'll describe it best. It was like I could word vomit everything that was going on. I don't need to be the one to figure out if it's connected. I don't need to be the one to figure out how you're going to help me. I don't need to be the one trying to search supplements. You do it
Mhm.
because there's trust and relationship there. And those who are listening, I can strongly encourage you to take that next step, make the investment in yourself and in your health, because that is what you have long term. And with that being said, Dr. Kim, how can people reach out to you? Website, social media accounts, we'll have all of that linked in our show notes, but can you go ahead and share those?
So actually, website is probably the best way because I have a telemedicine multiple state practice. So the website is everything's driven to the website, and I have pretty good presence in social media. I think I have about more than 20,000 people that I influence over, but it's all what I call freemium. I am a physician. I have a responsibility. I can't practice medicine in other states. So, but I can guide them, like the LDN group that we have, that we do a lot of guiding, educating. And of course, people don't want that. People want like, hey, what's the answer? And it's like, well, I can't really tell you that because I'm not your doctor. So I think the website is a great way to get the conversation started. There is a uh, contact us form that is secure so that and technically they're not my patients yet, and it costs money to have secure system. But I think it's just like what you said, it's honest medicine, it's trust. Then I have to go an extra mile. Like when you and I talked about the calendar system, first one isn't HIPAA secure. So we decided not to use it, but I do have a HIPAA secure automatic calendar system because I think that these little steps carry over to bigger trust things. And then, so I would say just contact me. And what happens after that is I don't charge people to talk to them. And I, I book an hour. And if then we are not there yet, I book another hour because I only have like I want to just have 99 patients, active patients only. And every month I aim to have just 2 patients that's new. That the big difference is before I took all comers. Now I don't. I'm interviewing them. So this couple's like, I have this issue. So that's a very complicated issue. And that's called the small intestine bacterial overgrowth. And it's very, very difficult. But it's very easy. It can be 100% if you use antibiotics or functional medicine, integrative medicine. You get 50%. But you do it my way, you can get up to 100%. But the thing is, I need their buy-in. So I said, we talk for 30 minutes and then I give them the websites and I said, go here. It's all free information. You can even do it yourself. So I come back next week and they say, it's like, did you read that? Because I read all of them. The wife goes, I read all of them. And then, okay, I did tell you I'm going to quiz you. I'm a very busy businessman. And then the wife doesn't say anything. So I said, I don't think I can work with you because you didn't do homework. And then if you said you didn't do homework, just explain to me one more time, please. But you try to say that you did it, and then I have to call you out. It's like, I don't think we're a good match. So I let him go. And I keep sense they are really disappointed, but I think it's better that way. So I invest a lot of time in finding, are they good match for me or not?
Directintegrativecare.com is the website to go so that you could visit the contact us form and connect with Dr. Kim himself. Dr. Kim, thank you so much for investing into all of us listening and wanting to help us shine, if you will, the best possible way. If you are in need of taking that next step of maybe identifying what is going on and the root cause behind that, do not hesitate to contact Dr. Kim. You can visit more at workingmomsredefined.com. We'll have it in the show notes for you to be able to directly connect with him because let's be honest, this is hard, and yet you can do hard things. Thank you for listening to the Working Moms Redefined podcast. It is not lost on me that you chose to spend time together. Thank you. Let's connect outside of this space on socials. We'd love for you to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Pinterest. We've got it all to connect with you. If you feel as if someone in your life could be impacted by this message, feel free to share it. That is the biggest compliment. As we part ways together, remember, you can do hard things.